From the spring to summer of 2017, this exact MIBR lineup won 5 out of 6 tournaments and established themselves as the best team on the planet. Now being reunited with Taco and a Phelps with more maturity and experience under his belt, alongside who is for many the best coach on the planet in Zeus, and certainly the Brazilians are cooking with gas. Today we're going to assess the chances of MIBR going forward by breaking down some rounds from 2 games played during the major. The first of these will be their Overpass game against Astralis in the semi-finals, and the other on Inferno against NIP during the group stage. So as we said, Overpass is where we're going to begin, and first up we're going to start on round 5. The first thing to note here is MIBR's nade count, which is far from perfect, and this influences the call they go for since they don't have the utility to play out a standard default round into a late execute onto one of the sides. As we can see then, MIBR is grouped with 3 outside of Monster, Cold is further back and he's going to throw an entry flash, and whilst this is going on, Phelps is solo towards Connector, showing some presence. Next up, Cold is going to throw that entry flash, MIBR comes out of Monster as a pack and Glaive gets caught in the open, and here he did not stand much of a chance. After clearing out back water, Cold comes in with the bomb, and as it goes down, Fallen and Fur are holding the swings onto the planter, and they're going to find 2 kills and seal the deal for MIBR. So there are a few things that's happened here that are worth discussing, and the first of these is that this call to go out Monster requires very little utility, which made it a great choice considering their low nade count. The next thing is all about CT sewers control. So at the start of the round, Taco throws this molly that lands on B short, and this is thrown pretty much every single round at the top level in order to deter those CTs from taking sewers control. Here though, Astralis smoked onto the molly and mollied the pipe themselves so that Magis could force out the sewers control. MIBR though can hear the smoke putting out the molly, so they know that Astralis very likely has sewers control. So as MIBR comes out of Monster, Fallen throws this god tier molly onto short to stop any Astralis players in sewers holding angles onto the bomb sites as the hit comes in. This molly basically meant that Glaive was stuck in a 1 versus 3 as they came out of Monster, and once Glaive went down there really was not much Astralis could do to bring the round back into their favour. Out of all the rounds we'll go through in this video, this one is probably my favourite round from MIBR during either of these games. So this round started off with a fairly default setup coming out from the Brazilians, and during this half already Astralis had been bullying the B bomb site, so Fallen was probably hesitant to call any less than 3 on B at the start of the round. Back towards A, Astralis took some mid control which forced Fur and Fallen back towards the site, and over on B, Cold and Taco, who started the round in a double monster setup with Cold anti-flash, committed to it into the mid and late round, even after their monster smokes had faded. Watching this one progress, Astralis throw some smokes towards A. One of them actually missed here, but even so, the long one especially denies information, and Glaive, working towards the site, is trying to show some pressure, whilst the actual hit from Astralis will be onto B. The key player here is Fur, who has stayed in the semi-aggressive position, and what Fur hears is Glaive running back, and here he starts pushing, getting more and more information about what Astralis is doing. So I'm going to pause here so we can look at the map and let's think about what is going on inside the comms of MIBR. So whilst Astralis was showing pressure towards A, Phelps had rotated towards the site, so they were left with only 2 players on B. But as Fur gets all of this information, Phelps moves back onto B, and Fallen is in a spot ready to move down into heaven. Next up will come the cherry on top. Now Cold and Taco were still in this double monster setup, and I'm pretty sure they would have made this play anyway, but with the information from Fur, they double peek Monster on a flash, kill Zipnix, then reset, flash and double peek again, and then proceed to clean up the rest of the Astralis players. Now if Cold and Taco just sat in that setup whilst Astralis executed out of short and Monster onto site, then best case scenario was something like trading 2 for 2. But with Fur calling that it's almost certainly B, they took the fight towards Monster before getting pinched, got 1 kill and made Astralis' life much more difficult. Moving on to this clip, we're going to have a quick look at a setup coming out from MIBR towards mid, And as we said in the last clip, Astralis' early successes on B meant Fallen was probably more hesitant to call setups with low numbers on B, at least during the early round. But on this round though, having stopped Astralis a few times on B, Fallen said they're going to come for mid control, so let's put 4 on A and play a setup to contest the control, and that's exactly what they're going to do here. So we have Phelps on the bike out long, Fur is close to the mid wall, Fallen orbing down Con, and Cold is in toilets playing off others' contact, and crucially he will not get hit by flashes. As a side point, what Cold is doing here works better on LAN because he can look at his teammates' monitors for when to swing out. Astralis here picked a pretty unfortunate round, to say the least, to go heavy contact for mid, and MIBR gets 2 kills for 1 death. To rub salt in the wounds, Fur is going to pick up the AWP and gets another onto Magis, and now in a 4 vs 2, this is a 1 round for the Brazilian side. That's enough for Overpass. Let's look at some rounds from their game versus NIP on Inferno. We're going to start off on round 5, and at the start Phelps throws what I like to call the Fnatic smoke, and with the car molly this makes it much more difficult for the CTs to take banana control. But what MIBR is really going for in this round is fast brackets control. As they flash through the mid smoke, Lecro gets 2 great kills before going down. And now just pausing here, let's look at the map. So the reason MIBR took that risk of going through the mid smoke is because they guess NIP would have 3 towards B early to take banana control themselves, and the nades they threw towards banana would keep the NIP players towards banana for a longer period of time. On this round, MIBR did get the gamble right. NIP did have 3 players towards B early, and now Forest is isolated alone on the A site. So next, MIBR throws Arch and Library smokes, which cuts off any help from their players rotating in, and now Phelps plus Fallen are going to shift up short. Forest on site simply had too many directions to worry about, getting caught moving about, and I'll talk over this afterplant, which MIBR is going to come out on top of. A great trait of the Brazilian side shown in this round is that they're not scared to call teams bluff on stacking areas early, and you'll see them do similar stuff to this on the B site of Train, for example. Now this wasn't the most refined, forced out brackets take I've ever seen, but hopefully with time they can get it up to a really good level. One of the most important things you need to be a strong Inferno team on the CT side in the current day is having loads of varied methods of taking banana control, and in this round that's exactly what I'm going to focus on. As we can see, MIBR is sending 3 towards B, and Fur, who was going to molly close by on half wall, misses it. Phelps mollies out tree, and then they double nade the left side corner, which I'm going to call Magisk because he sits there most rounds, and then they re-molly close and take the control. I'll do my best to explain what is going on here, but I recommend you watch my video on liquid contesting banana control, linked below, because in that I talk in much more depth than I will during this one. So on your screen right now is the standard banana take, and it's been around for years on both iterations of Inferno. Now as Terrace, what teams love to do is stand in Magisk and then chuck a smoke onto that deep molly, then throw more nades and flashes towards the car area to stop the CTs rounding the corner. On this round, MIBR instead mollied close and tree, then double naded Magisk. So if Nip had a player in Magisk, they probably die to the nades. Now these small changes from round to round might seem insignificant to some, but varying up where the mollies and nades land, plus the timings used to go for banana control, makes a massive difference, and I cannot do it justice in this video. Very briefly, here is another style of taking banana as CT. So here MIBR deep mollies banana and mid, then flashes Fur to go in front of the terrace car molly and get fast banana control. This is another, arguably more risky way of forcing out banana control, but still it's great to have a take like this in your wheelhouse, and if you play in a team at any level, I highly recommend you dig up the demo for this match and add both styles of taking banana control to your game, as well as the standard banana take, which I believe they do in this match on round 28 and 29. let's discuss the title of this video. Is MIBR a future title contender? So it's obviously early days, but I really like the way this MIBR squad is playing, and quite a few top pros have already come out and said that MIBR is a team that could do serious damage going forward. Now, in a press conference after winning the major, Astralis said that alongside Liquid, they saw MIBR as the biggest threat to them going forward. Now, I can't remember the exact wording of what they said, and neither do I know if there was a video or a write-up of that press conference, but if anyone does know of one, then hit me up and I'll put it in the description. So what do I like about MIBR? Now, on the T side, they have balls. They are not scared to get aggressive and take risks when they think there are gaps in the CT side. And we didn't talk through it much here, but in mid to late round scenarios, they look pretty good, and this will only get better with time. Over on the CT side, they have some fun stuff. Clearly, CT banana control had been a focus for them coming into the major, and Train especially stands out as a map where the Brazilians are monsters on the CT side with their mobility and variation. In terms of negatives, I think Astralis proved to be the better team in playing out mid-round and late-round scenarios during the major semi-final, and on both sides I don't think MIBR has the widest playbook or looks incredibly refined, showing some small team play mistakes. But, and this is a big but, you should expect these things to be the case with how long this team has been together, and with Zeus behind them, I think they have some of the best minds in Counter-Strike in Zeus, Fallen and Cold, to iron everything out. Personally, I cannot wait for this team to get another month or so of practice under them and then play at a massive tournament against the best teams, because in a world in which Astralis, Liquid, MIBR and Na'Vi are in top form is going to make for some of the best games ever played. Anyways, why don't you comment below with your thoughts on the Brazilians, and this video was recorded on a new microphone setup, so the settings might be a bit off, but hopefully it all sounds good. If you enjoyed that one, why don't you hit that like button, get subscribed, follow me on Twitter, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.